Thank you, and be seated. A new year. We've walked through the doorway. We have our lives, our experience, our community as guides for our new growth. What will this new year have in store for us? This week I did a lot of thinking about how you and I might begin a new year with intention and excitement. I began to considering the words resolution and intention and the difference in those two words. I want to focus my thinking about how living this new year might take on more significance than our typical resolutions to give up a bad habit or to begin a new healthier habit. Although those are very important things to do, I can take on some of those. While those are important, though, they rarely sink into our being, because the reality is that after a few days or weeks, we forget or give up on New Year's resolutions. Has anyone else ever done that? Yeah. I thought I was in the right crew. So I'd like for us to forget about the resolutions and instead to consider intentions for the new year. Now, we might consider this just a matter of semantics, but it's more than just a change of word. Intentions touch more than our cognitive decision-making. And intention speaks to how we want to be in the world. I learned this week that there's a medical definition of intention that actually connects us to our past. While we think of intentions as being an aim or a plan, medically, the word intention means to heal a wound. Here we are back at Janus, and the importance of moving forward in our lives. Intentions can help us heal our old stuff. Our intention to create a meaningful future enables us to live with resilience when the unexpected happens, when we move into the unknown. Intention offers us the possibility of transformation. There's a story about a gift that reminds me each time I read it of the importance to accept life with intention and commitment. This story comes from My Grandfather's Blessings by Rachel Naomi Remen.
Our special reading today comes from Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen. Dr. Remen is clinical professor of family and community medicine at the University of California, San Francisco School of Medicine, and director of the Institute for the Study of Health and Illness at Commonweal, a nonprofit center dedicated to healing, learning, the environment, and justice. She has sold more than 1 million books and has been living successfully with Crohn's disease for over 60 years. Often, when he came to visit, my grandfather would bring me a present. There were never the sorts of things that other people brought, dolls and books and stuffed animals. My dolls and stuffed animals have been gone for more than half a century, but many of my grandfather's gifts are with me still. Once he brought me a little paper cup. I looked inside it expecting something special. It was full of dirt. I was not allowed to play with dirt. Disappointed, I told him this. He smiled at me fondly. Turning, he picked up the little teapot from my doll's tea set and took me to the kitchen where he filled it with water. Back in the nursery, he he put the little cup up on the windowsill and handed me the teapot. "If you promise to put some water in the cup every day, something may happen," he told me. At the time, I was 4 years old, and my nursery was on the 6th floor of an apartment building in Manhattan. This whole thing made no sense to me at all. I looked at him dubiously. He nodded with encouragement. "Every day, Neshemele," he told me. And so I promised. At first, curious to see what would happen, I did not mind doing this. But as the days went by and nothing changed, it got harder and harder to remember to put water in the cup. After a week, I asked my grandfather if it was time to stop yet. Shaking his head no, he said, "Every day, Neshemele." The second week was even harder, and I became resentful of my promise to put water in the cup. When my grandfather came again, I tried to give it back to him, but he refused to take it, saying simply, "Every day, Neshemele." By the third week, I began to forget to put water in the cup. Often I would remember only after I'd been put to bed and would have to get up out of bed and water it in the dark. But I did not miss a single day. And one morning, there were 2 little green leaves that had not been there the night before. I was completely astonished. Day by day, they got bigger. I could not wait to tell my grandfather, certain that he would be as surprised as I was. But of course, he was not. Carefully, he explained to me that life is everywhere, hidden in the most ordinary and unlikely places. I was delighted. "And all it needs is water, Grandpa?" I asked him. Gently, he touched me on the top of my head. "No, Neshemele," he said. "All it needs is your faithfulness." This was perhaps my first lesson in the power of service. But I did not understand it in this way then. My grandfather would not have used these words. He would have said that we need to remember to bless the life around us and the life within us. He would have said, when we remember we can bless life, we can repair the world. So, how will you use your life to bless life and repair the world in your own way?
To live with faithful attention to our lives takes intention. But intention is more than holding a thought. On New Year's Day, I had a conversation with UUFC friend and retired UU community minister Judy Hassam about intention. She believes that intention is how we set the direction of our life energy to flow. For Judy, intention begins with focus and attention. Just as the child, Rachel Rimmon, focused her attention on watering the little cup of dirt because it was a gift, so we must decide how and on what we will focus our attention. Our intention is nourished by our attention. But often, like the little girl, we become tired of the repetition, and we sometimes wish we could give back the intentions we have set for ourselves, or to just forget them, like our New Year's resolutions. But slowly, day by day, if we continue our focus and attention, if we practice our lives, our intentions become habit. Slowly, then, our repetitive habits become the rituals of our daily lives, whether they be brushing our teeth, feeding the birds, or offering compassion to every person we meet. Eventually, with practice and attention, we just might find, like the little girl, that there are the leaves of new life and being that emerge from what we thought was only a bit of earth. Intention takes commitment and practice. It is part of our becoming who we want to be. On January 2nd, I received a fairly profound life intention in my first fortune cookie of the year. One must take insight where you find it. So my fortune for the year, which might end up being my intention for the year, is listen to life, and you will hear the voice of life crying, be. Pretty darn good one. If we nurture our intentions, they can become a blessing for us and for the world. We too might be astonished one day by what our intentions create. Rachel Rimmond's grandfather knew that. So let us hear again the very ending of the story. Carefully, he explained to me that life is everywhere, hidden in the most ordinary and unlikely places. I was delighted. And all it needs is water, Grandpa? I asked him. Gently, he touched me on the top of my head. No, Neshumala, he said, all it needs is your faithfulness. This was perhaps my first lesson in the power of service. But I didn't understand it in this way then. My grandfather would not have used these words. He would have said that what we need to remember to bless the life is to bless the life around us and the life within us. He would have said that when we remember, we can bless life. We can repair the world. May it be so. I invite us to join together in responsive reading number 544